On today's episode of The Organic Matrix, we're going to be speaking about unlocking your potential with Napoleon Hill's principles and life coaching insights with Albert E. Whale. Feeling like you're not living up to your full potential? You're not alone. In today's high-pressure world, many of us struggle with feeling unfulfilled, stressed, and unsure of our path. But imagine if you can harness time-tested principles to unlock your true potential and lead a life filled with purpose, satisfaction, and success. In today's episode of The Organic Matrix, we're thrilled to host Albert E. Whale again, a distinguished life coach from Napoleon Hill Institute. Albert, a seasoned cybersecurity titan, has now dedicated himself to personal transformation and leveraging the powerful principles of Napoleon Hill's landmark book, Think and Grow Rich. Albert will share his journey, shed light on proven strategies he applies in his coaching, and provide actionable insights to help you navigate your path towards personal growth and success. If you've been seeking answers to your frustrations and yearning for a life filled with passion, purpose, and prosperity, this episode is a must listen. Albert, welcome back to the show.
Oh, Samantha, it's so nice to see you again. Thanks for having me back.
It's an absolute honor. Albert, can you share with us what inspired you to get involved with life coaching?
Wow, that's a great question. So initially, I was watching The Secret, Rhonda Byrne's movie, The Secret, the book, and all of her auxiliary books and the audio books. And I was following along with the story. And, there was some limited success. And then I started working with other actors that were in the movie, The Secret, Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Joe Vitale. He's literal physicist, he does physical realities. And, Bob Proctor came up on my radar, and I started watching his YouTube videos for quite a long time. And I went to a couple of his free strategy sessions, and I was contacted by my mentor, Cleona O'Hara. Cleona and I had a conversation, and, she asked me personally what motivated me to come to watch Bob's seminar. And I said, well, quite honestly, I'm trying to do better with my life, and I'm not really finding the pathway. I mean, what am I missing? And she's like, well, we can help you with that, but you have to decide to come on board. And I was struggling with that. Literally, I thought I knew everything. I watched every day the YouTube videos that were coming out, the new ones, his old ones, and his audiobooks, and it just wasn't clicking for me the way I wanted it to. And Cleona said, look, Albert, when you make the decision to move forward, the path will be shown. And that was important for me because financially, I wasn't ready. But as soon as I said, okay, Cleona, I'm going to pull the trigger, let's go, the money showed up. It was amazing. The principles work 100% if you use them. And I had to get coaching to understand how to unlock all of the principles to move forward. It's not something I could do easily on my own because for 8 years I tried. And I had limited success. I manifested the house we're living in. I had to win the lottery twice in order to get the property that we're on. But I was what Bob called an unconscious competent, because I was having success, but not really understanding what was going on and how to create it whenever I wanted. And that's what it's supposed to be. You create the life that you want instead of reacting to life as it comes to you. Wouldn't you really rather create the life of your dreams? I did.
That is so inspiring, and it's true. Because we're going to live life anyway, so why not create it the way we want to live it?
Absolutely. I mean, I wasn't satisfied with the job I had. I didn't feel like they were compensating me well enough. I didn't feel like they respected what I was doing, even though I was a leader in the field. It just seems like things weren't happening for me. They were happening to me. And I didn't like that. I was frustrated because I wanted to be in control of my destiny. I didn't want life to give me something that I didn't want. I had that all my life. You can't do that, Albert, because. You can't do that, Albert, because. Albert, you're not good enough. Well, Albert found out that Albert is good enough, and Albert deserves everything that he wants to have. And you can have it too.
What do you think the past Albert would react or say if you were to see where you are right now?
So, looking back, it's unbelievable, okay? The person I once was timid and introverted and couldn't hold a sentence together or speak in front of a public, giving a dissertation or a presentation or a webinar or anything of the sort. Even though I had specialized knowledge, most people thought that, he's a geek and, well, let's just lock him up in the other room and let him do his thing. When in fact, yeah, maybe I did build the internet. Maybe I did help the FBI out and created the FBI InfoGuard, but I have a lot of value to deliver to the entire world, not just limited focus.
I agree. I mean, like, I believe that as soon as you said you helped create the internet, like, that's a big deal.
Right?
Yeah, that's huge. Where would we be without the internet?
Well, you'd probably be working in somebody's building being managed, right?
That's exactly true. That's exactly what would be.
But back in 93, people said, well, you can't work from home. And I said, really? Watch me.
You were you were a trailblazer from the beginning. And I'm really glad now you get to share your voice, share the fact that you're a part of a grand part of history in the evolution of mankind. And I love that you get to show, like, be a mentor for the people right now with what you know, what you've done for this country. Same thing like as Bob Proctor. Like, just for me to know that he was alive very recently, inspiring people the way that he has. I feel like you're picking up where he left off because you're now using all of your life experience to give back to the people.
Absolutely. And, that's what it's about, giving back to the people and trying to serve them and bring them to the next level of realization, of understanding, unlocking their minds. And like Cleona, she's now the CEO of Napoleon Hill Institute. She wants to unlock 8 billion people's minds and make them free thinkers. And I support that 100%. And that's why I'm on this journey together with her. Because I've done it. I know it can be done. And together we can do this for a lot of people.
100%. Matrix members, I have to validate what Albert is saying because my life is testimony to the fact that this does work. With just like almost 2 months now, I've been a part of the
Has it been
Napoleon.
that long?
Yeah, it's
It
reaching
doesn't
that.
seem like it, does it?
No, it doesn't. But who I am is completely night and day. It I was able to scale 10 years worth of progress in these 2 months being a part of the Napoleon Hill Institute and also having the ability to share thoughts with Albert and to get his feedback on where I want to go with my business. I started working with Albert and I was blessed with the most clarity I've ever had in my life when it comes to how I want to deliver my help to my Matrix members. And I went from being a struggling artist to being I believe that I'm a true professional in my trade and the
You are a
opportunity.
true professional. Good thing that you believe it.
Yes, thank you. And the treatment that I've been getting since I started believing that, like the opportunity started raining from the sky. And now I'm in a position where I could confidently support myself, support my dream, and continue to deliver more because these principles really do work. And when you have the community of people that can share ideas with you, give you advice on how to scale those ideas, it's inspiring. Like I don't know about you Matrix members, but it's hard for me to look around my instant environment and see people that I want to emulate. There's not a lot of people that not a lot of women I can look at and say, "Oh my gosh, I want to be like her." And if you catch yourself saying that often, Napoleon Hill Institute is a game changer because you're going to be involved with a bunch of people who are millionaires, billionaires, and everybody in between, everyone on that journey to that path in the form of service, of being like a local hero. And that in itself is the biggest gift that I've gotten from Napoleon Hill, the exposure to the caliber of coaches and people that care about our perspective in this matrix.
Absolutely. And in fact, Andrew Carnegie asked Napoleon if he was going to accept the journey, the opportunity to research all of these millionaires during the Gilded Age when everybody else was in depression. He wanted to help more people become millionaires. And he said, Napoleon, I want you to say this out loud. Andrew, I'm not only going to meet you, but I'm going to surpass you at the post and meet you at the grandstand as a bigger millionaire. And he's actually created more millionaires than Andrew Carnegie ever did. So it's entirely possible to come from where you are. And that's exactly what you need to do. You start here. No matter where you are, you start there, and we can help take you forward.
Absolutely. I love this. This is such a great opportunity for you Matrix members. Like, I'm so excited that we get to talk about this today. How has Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich impact your life?
Wow. So in addition to meeting all of the founding members and coaches in New York City, I actually got to meet you as well, Samantha, which was amazing in itself because we started a journey together, not knowing how it would impact each other. And as you just described, your impact has been life-changing in less than 2 months. And I think that you mentioned to me in the first 30 days that you noticed significant change, right?
Oh yeah. I went from making pennies to a couple of thousand in the first month.
So you remember me telling you that I didn't feel respected in my industry. I didn't feel well compensated. And, there are several other things that the old me had. And I've shed them because now I've created 3 books in 1 year. The first one, #Hacked, was an award-winning book on cybersecurity and how to protect yourself online. Free tips at thehackedbook.com. Shameless plug there, but they're free. The second book, #Hack2, I started a month after I published the first one, and 14 people came forward to me to say, we want to be in your second book. And we published it. It was roughly 4 months and became a #1 international bestseller in 4 countries and 40 categories.
Wow.
The third book, My Year with Bob, we're showcasing to producers and directors in Hollywood. Now, that was in 1 year. The first book, #Hacked, started within 30 days. So the transformation is continual, and it's constant, and it's ever improving.
Oh my gosh.
Where you start from doesn't matter. The goal is to start. You have to make that decision. And when you make that decision, it's a committed decision because you want to change something. More love, more health, more wealth, more notoriety, all of the above. It doesn't matter. But if you don't want it, then it's not going to happen.
Oh, there's this one story that that you told me when I first met you that totally inspired me with the conversation you had with Cleona. And I would love to, if you can give us a little view of how it was like when you first picked up that momentum, what it took for you to get it started, that that got you to have the commitment, the speed that you were able to publish three books, two best-selling ones, one going to Hollywood. What was the beginning of that momentum?
So again, it was a long time for me to get started into the coaching program. And that was my old quote unquote paradigm. That's a Bob Proctor term. Shameless plug for Bob, but he's no longer here. Anyway, this is what we've learned growing up from people that we respected, our family, our teachers, and things of that nature. They don't really know what's going on, but they tried to help us. In my mind, I was starting work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was working from home for the most part. So I would get up at 7 a.m. And after I committed to starting the coaching program, Cleona said to me, well, I want you to get up at 5:30 so that you have time to study the material, to read, to do your homework, and understand where you're going. Now, I didn't quite understand that, but I said, well, I only get up at 7 to start work at 8 because my office is 20 seconds down the hallway. Anyway, after grabbing coffee and breakfast, it's an easy stroll. The commute isn't rough at all. Okay. It's not DC or LA or even downtown Pittsburgh going through the tunnels. And I started getting up at 6. I said, I'll get up at 6. That's an extra hour. You said I need an hour. I'll give you the hour. And I started at 6. And in 2 weeks, after studying the material starting at 6, I decided that I needed more time. And I called Cleona and I said, look, you were right. I'm getting up at 5:30 now without the alarm. I need more time to study the material. I am embracing it, and it's wow, it's captivating, it's fulfilling, it's changing my world. And it really did. And within 30 days of starting the program, that's when I had the knowledge that I should write a book based on what I do in cybersecurity.
Ooh, I would love to know what was the like, do you remember the moment where you're like, ding, I'm gonna do it? Like, when did you like just start writing? Like, what happened right before you started writing?
I was watching Bob Proctor, and he was talking about multiple sources of income and the different income strategy levels, M1, M2, and M3. And, he's like, some of you could write a book. And I'm just like, wow, I could write a book like that.
I love that. I love the time traveling moments because it's like, it's to me, it's like,
That was a quantum shift.
yes, yes.
And that's why I created my Facebook group called Quantum Shift Advisor with Albert Whale. So you can find me on Facebook, Quantum Shift Advisor. Subscribe. I have a free gift there for you. Say hello, book a call. We can have a conversation and talk about what it is you want to do.
Yes. And at the end of the podcast, Albert and I will tell you what the surprise gift is because it it's a big deal.
You're going to tell them? Oh my gosh. They have to stick around to the end, though, right?
Yes, absolutely. What are some of the key principles from Napoleon Hill's teachings that you find yourself incorporating into your coaching very often?
So, the number one thing is what is your purpose? What is it you want to do? And why do you want to do it? Okay. And then when that's discovered, being able to focus on it helps. But I also work with my clients to work on their gratitude. And I tell my family, the attitude that you should have is gratitude. Not an attitude, but gratitude. because what you're appreciating more, you get more of, as well as service. When you give to others and supporting them, it doesn't have to be money, could be time, could be just generosity, being cordial, making them laugh. My favorite thing to do is make people smile, because they won't remember what I tell them about cybersecurity or anything else. Doesn't matter if I'm talking about Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, but if I can make them feel good or smile like you have that generous smile on your face there, Samantha, you'll always remember that I put a smile on your face.
That's so true. That is so true. We all want to work with people who make us feel like remind us that we're human. Because the strange thing in this world today is that the most human interaction we get is when we actually are looking for service. I don't even think it's like relationships anymore. And to have a warm, welcoming person to work with, like I will remember that for life. I'd be like, oh, I want to go to that guy because it makes me feel human. Doesn't feel so transactional.
Right, exactly.
Hmm. How do these principles help individuals unlock their potential?
Well, we start by getting rid of their limiting beliefs and their blocks. Those things that we call the paradigm. You know, how much do you think you can earn? How much was the most that you earned was one of Bob Proctor's favorite questions, just to find out what's in your head. What do you think that you can do to earn money? And why is it where you are? You know, Bob took a guy from prison, got him paroled. Now, the guy wasn't making any money in prison. Matter of fact, the guy started out heckling Bob Proctor. So Bob told him, you know, you're not the smartest guy here, are you? Because when this webinar's done and this seminar's done, I get to leave. You're going to be locked up here. And nobody talked down to this guy before in their life. And from that moment on, this guy was Bob's biggest supporter instead of his biggest detractor. You know, there's always some guy that heckles and everybody's afraid of them, but Bob stood up to him. And that guy was his biggest supporter. And Bob got him paroled and told the parole board that he needed him to work for him in London. And he took him to London to be his right-hand man. Now, is that life-changing or what?
Yes, it is.
So if you think that your limitations or where you're starting today is worse, I beg to differ. Because it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you do start.
Absolutely. And the commitment.
Right. If you don't have any commitment, you're going to be a drifter. And, you know, Napoleon Hill Institute just had a live event called From Drifter to Leader. And that's the perfect example of what we're talking about. And, you know, it's outwitting your inner devil. Mm-hmm. Because most of life is built around distracting you from what you really want. And when you let go of the distractions, you can focus on everything else.
It is so true. These are some Jedi principles that we need in today's society with all the stimulus around us.
Jedi principles. You know, a lot of movies that I'm watching now today in Hollywood are all about, you know, the underdog coming up and being able to do and accomplish anything. Well, that's what we're talking about, but we want to do it for the common man. And that's why I created the Quantum Shift Advisor. Because I can help people do that. We have the tools that can take you from where you are to where you want to go.
Albert, can you give us the big three that is taught in Napoleon Hill Institute, the big three that we need to succeed in any project that we start?
Sure, the big three, and this is supported all the way to the top with Cleona O'Hara, our CEO. It's an unwavering belief that you can accomplish what you want and what you want. And it's that desire to achieve that goal. as well as the commitment to do that. You can't achieve these accomplishments without action. Sure, the book is called Think and Grow Rich, but it's going to give you the pathway and the steps in order to create the action steps to help you get there. Now, I've talked to a lot of people that tell me that they've read Think and Grow Rich. And I said, okay, how's that working for you? You know? And they say, well, it was a good book, but they don't know how to apply the principles. Or really, what were the principles? Because they're missing the point. And that's why it's essential to have a coach, a mentor, someone to guide you and help you accomplish your goals. And that's what we do with Napoleon Hill Institute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like when you were describing that, it just brought me back to like my own experience while reading this book. And I understand that if I wasn't in the Study and Grow Rich program, I probably would have finished that book, but a lot of the treasure would have gone right over my head. And with having other people to study with, it's a game changer because you get to understand different dimensions of how we can apply it. We get to see other people who have ambitions like we do try it, what it did for them, and then we get to play with it. And the biggest thing that I love about Napoleon Hill is like once we get our goal never changes. Our approach changes. And we keep approaching it until we solve it and achieve it. And that's why it's a foolproof plan. There's no room for failure if you really desire what you're working for. And if you don't have the energy to invest in what you believe, do you really believe it?
Well,
Matrix
that
members.
might be it. It might not be the belief or the goal that's really suited to you as well. And that's part of the problem. People think that they want X, but they're really not well suited to it, but they want something else. And they're afraid to ask for it. Bob used to talk about setting goals. And Cleona says the same thing because Cleona was the senior vice president for sales with Bob Proctor. She was a member of the inner circle, okay? And she made it her job to be there. She decided that she wanted to be a member of the inner circle, and she became that person. And if you know Cleona's story, she started out as an immigrant from Ireland. She was parentless when she came over. She didn't have $20 to her name. And here she is running a global corporation, Napoleon Hill Institute, as the CEO. Now, Think and Grow Rich certainly does help, justify everything that's happened in her life. Think and Grow Rich for me certainly is setting those same goals. My goals are really lofty, very high, okay? And I am on goal, on project with helping change 8 billion people's minds as well.
Oh my gosh, this is great. This is the caviar everybody deserves. Matrix members, if you're really ready to have a breakthrough, you're ready to achieve the life that you want, if you could live the movie of a life that you want to direct, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's a great point, Samantha. Most people are spectators in their movie. Wouldn't you really rather be the leading actor or actress of your own movie, your life, instead of watching it transpire for you, you creating the entire movie in front of you?
Hmm.
I
And
can't tell you how many actors say that same thing because they all live that life. They've learned this. And that are so many people that are ambitious and have achieved their goals, like Kobe Bryant, basketball, Oprah Winfrey, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Edison, Teddy Roosevelt. There's more than 500 people that have achieved millionaire status that have gone into the principles and process and program that we have with Napoleon Hill Institute. Don't you want success? Because it wants you.
yes. I love this because, like, even in my life experience, everything has been shifting and changing to fit my actual desire once I've really committed and believed in what I wanted to create. And the what it really did for me is I read the book every single day, and I refer to the book now for like almost all of my life problems. Every life struggle or obstacle that I've been faced with there's an answer for it in the Think and Grow Rich book, and a very classy approach on how to solve the issue in a very mature and professional way. And I started realizing that how many times I let my circumstances control my reactions, and then it starts like a snowball effect of things now I have to navigate through, things that I could have completely avoided. And what this book got me to do is to really stop and observe what this situation fits with within Napoleon Hill's writing. And what I love a lot about Napoleon Hill is he brings a lot of stories that are very relatable. So he'll talk about a principle, he'll give you a real life example from a client or a life experience he had. And with that, we can use our plasticity to envision like where those narratives fit in our lives. And that's where things really started taking a rapid change, because it was like I was living with blurry vision my whole life, and I picked up that book and met the founding members of Napoleon Hill Institute at the event in New York that I snuck into. And I put in new glasses, and I was like, whoa.
You saw the world differently, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, wow, I made a lot of messes that I didn't, perceive that I made. And it's time to start cleaning things up and tidy up. And things got very organized in my life. And
You made a quantum shift.
yes. And and I would
And
say
that was
that
before you knew me as your advisor.
yes, yes. Well, honestly, the quantum shift happened when we started talking. Like when I went to the event, I had an opportunity to look at what future I want. That's what it really did for me. I was able to meet such amazing people. I was in a room full of people that I don't think I would have ever imagined to step foot in. I got to meet Albert, the founder of the internet. I got to meet Gary Glass, a rocket scientist from NASA. I got to sit
I
next
know,
to him
right?
and eat dinner with him. I didn't even know. I got to meet Cleona. I got her autograph. Oh my gosh. It was just the best thing. And that really woke me up. I was like, I don't want to be around the same people that I grew up with. I want to be with them. And then I met Albert. And then once we started talking, Albert has a way of like making things like being like you can see clearly with Albert, because one, like he doesn't BS. Like he's very real. And so it was very quick for me to scale with him, because I hadn't have anyone validating the narratives that didn't serve me. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like when you find a coach that can really be real with you and cut through the BS, things really start changing. But it doesn't change without our effort, right?
That's right. Right. But once you see it,
Yeah.
then you are believing and then seeing, right? Because you believe that when you saw us come together, the organization showed its principles to you and you began to see.
Yes.
Your belief brought your sight.
Give me chills.
I love making things simple for people so that they can better understand why things are happening for them the way they are.
Yes. That is the biggest gift that we can get. Albert, can you share an example of a transformational success from one of your clients? What was their situation before they began working with you, and how did they apply the principles to get them toward their desired outcome?
Sure. So all of our coaching is done confidentially, but I can say that I had a client that was new to the area and signed up for coaching under me. Didn't have a job. She was fighting the devil too, or her paradigm for making the decision to come on board. But when she did, again, the money was shown and the pathway forward was shown. It was amazing. It was just that quick, okay? But as soon as she started into the program, she began to have a vision of what tomorrow is, her future. And we talk about the future being now, because time is an illusion. We don't know how much time we have. The only thing that we do have is the present. So when you want the present to be the best part of your experience, she didn't have a job. When she started into the program, she came upon 2 jobs within a week. She hadn't had a vacation in over 4 or 7 years, something like that. And I guided her. I said, if you're going to celebrate and have a vacation because of your accomplishments, why not go to a beach, an ocean beach, instead of a lake? I always feel better at an ocean. Of course, my last name's Whale. Being a whale of a guy, we like salt water, right? Anyway, I like having fun doing things, especially in a warmer climate. Sandy beaches help inspire the sunshine and a better lifestyle, in my mind.
Oh yeah, I love and the ionization. You can't beat the benefits of the beach.
Right, and the salt air, it's so fresh and clean.
hmm That's so inspiring. So, how is your client doing today?
I'm not allowed to discuss those things.
Oh well, not personally, but I mean, is she still thriving?
She is thriving. Yes, I can tell you that. She is designing her world the way she wants to live it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Throughout your coaching journey, you've undoubtedly had to help clients overcome some deeply ingrained barriers or limiting beliefs. Can you give us insight on how you help clients address their obstacles and breakthroughs to reach their full potential? I know that you have a confidentiality clause that you work with your clients. If it's more comfortable for you, maybe you can give us light on the most common limiting beliefs and your remedy for it.
Most common limiting beliefs are their ability to earn money. And most people say, well, I haven't finished college, or I didn't finish high school. And time after time after time, we can point to famous people in our world: Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla. All these people were, quote unquote, misfits to society, at least in their relative terms, but their deficiencies were actually their benefits to our society. Nikola Tesla used his mind to create marvelous inventions, the radio, and he created them in his workshop. It was his brain. How many other people do you know that can do that? So even if people think that they have a limiting ability, the limits are only based on their imagination. If you can imagine anything and you can hold that thought in your head, Napoleon Hill is known to say, if you can imagine it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thomas Edison was driven to create the light bulb, right? He failed 10,000 times, but it really wasn't a failure. It was a process of identifying what didn't work, because he did succeed in creating the light bulb. Orville and Wilbur Wright were looked at as outcasts. They were bicycle repairmen. They had a bicycle shop. Oh my God, you want to do what? You want to fly? You can't fly. And when they flew the first time, it was for 19 seconds. And all of the detractors were like, yeah, well, you were only up in the air for 19 seconds. And they said, we were up in the air, and it was for 19 seconds. How much enthusiasm can you generate for your future?
Can you give us some insight on how limiting beliefs can be kind of sneaky? Because sometimes, most times, limiting beliefs show up as a narrative that validates or justifies our reasonings to why we are where we are and why we can stay complacent. And a lot of people have limiting beliefs but don't know they have them. Can you give us a little tip or trick where we can identify these hidden limiting beliefs within ourselves so that we can address it?
So I think the best trick is to really look at your life and say, why am I here where I am today? You know? And if you can't answer that, that's understandable because it's hard to draw an introspective of yourself, right? And that's why you need a coach to help you with that process because not everybody can look inside of themselves to say where they are and why they are the way they are right now. That's a problem. But, a lot of it has to do with our teachings and our upbringing, okay? So when people have always heard for throughout their life, oh, you can't do that. You're not able to do that. You can't earn $1 million. You can't have a job with a good salary. You don't know how to run a global company. Those are limiting beliefs that maybe the person has heard over and over and over and over. And for the longer that you hear this, the harder it is to detect it, but not to remove it. Okay? So we take the limiting beliefs out and we help you, guide you on your journey to your goals in salvation, what you want to achieve. We don't achieve it for you or tell you what you should do, because what you should do inspires you, makes you feel like you're succeeding in the world, right? That's what it's all about.
Let's say our Matrix members are faced with a challenge or a setback, and maybe it's a situational thing, like maybe they had a loss in their family life, or maybe they like just ended a relationship, they're going through a major transition. How can the Napoleon Hill principles help them turn their situation around?
Well, that's a great question. And a lot of it has to do with, the Study and Grow Rich methodology or the mentorship programs, as well as deciding was that a useful tool or asset in order to reach your goal. So, all of us have gone through grief. And when grief happens or a sad event happens, that's a launching pad for changing your world. And that's what we've discovered is that we can take these situations and turn them around and accelerate your progress to move to a higher level. This is a quantum shift on steroids.
Oh man, I love that perspective. And what it makes me think of is like the beginning of every hero's journey. Like, when did we ever see a hero not have a tragic beginning?
They all do, don't they?
Yeah.
Hollywood has a way of making that happen. But not only is it a Hollywood thing, but it's in our reality. And we just can't understand that or how to leverage it directly ourselves. And that's why coaches and mentors are essential at helping us achieve our goals.
Yes. Yes. Honestly, for a long time, I haven't found a coach that I wanted to work with. But as soon as I decided to choose a coach, and I think that is a big part of it, Matrix members, like if you feel moved to find a coach, make sure you find a coach that you have a rapport with, that you respect, that inspires you.
Can relate to.
Yes, it's really important because you don't want to be working with someone that's going to encourage the resistance within yourself. Like, you have to trust the process. And honestly, I trust Albert for a lot of reasons. My mom worked for the government and she was a military like personnel, and she always made me feel safe. She was always secure. She was confident in how she spoke. And Albert reminds me of my mom. But not to say that sounds weird, but I have lesbian parents. So like, she was my masculine figure, but in a feminine body. So not to compare you to a woman, but she was a phenomenal.
It's okay. I served in the Navy as well.
Thank you. And so, yeah, I picked Albert as my coach because I trust him. And I know I could look at him and say, hey, you wrote 3 books in a year. Like, you helped build the internet. I'm inspired. I want to have that drive that can inspire someone to serve on that level. So, Matrix members, I would say hold on to your values, and if you're going to take this step, be confident in it, believe in it, and you'll be very pleasantly surprised on where it takes you.
Absolutely.
For someone who's feeling unfulfilled or stuck, what are some initial steps you recommend to start their journey towards personal transformation?
One of the first steps that they should take is to call me today. Take action. Don't sit and wait and say, well, someday. Well, wait a second. Where on the calendar does it say someday? Is there a day in any of the months that says today is someday? Make today someday. Because someday never happens. If you're waiting until something else happens to start your journey, it'll never start. If you want to start your journey, do it now. W. Clement Stone came up with do it now a long time before Nike ever branded it for their shoes. And W. Clement Stone was one of those personal success people that worked with Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie. And that's where we get all of our great thinking and teachings.
I love that. It's so true. How can our listeners connect with Napoleon Hill Institute and work with you?
So I made it real hard. No, easy. My email address is albert@albertwhale.com. I also have a Facebook group called Quantum Shift Advisor with Albert Whale. I'm on Facebook. You can connect with me. Try not to connect to people that don't have completed profiles so that I'm not getting hacked, things of that nature. Yes, I have some sensitivity in that area, but for the most part, I find that people want to be helped and they want to be helpful. So I'm looking to connect with people that want help or want to help us, especially if they're leaders, because we have a program that works with people that already have some leadership skills to bring them into Napoleon Hill Institute and certify them in our coaching program. And if you think that you're not a leader, that's not a problem. We can help you get there. We have other programs to build you up and then bring you in as a leader, unless you don't want to be a leader. I mean, really, what it is you want to do should be what you do with your life.
Thank you so much, Albert. It's been an absolute pleasure, an inspiring honor to have you on the show again. I love today's conversation. Do you have a few parting words for our Matrix members?
Yes, the biggest thing that I can tell you to do is to make the decision to start. Everybody that starts says, I don't know why I waited so long, including myself. I can't even answer that question other than to say that it was my paradigm, my being afraid. But we take that fear and we help elevate you with that fear to accelerate your accomplishments. So be afraid. Be very afraid. But make the decision to start and we can help you.
Oh, those are such beautiful words. That is so encouraging. I can't wait to publish this episode. Are you ready to make a quantum leap in your personal and professional life, Matrix members? To delve deeper into wisdom and powerful principles of Napoleon Hill? Join Albert E. Whale's Facebook group, Quantum Shift Advisor. There you will find a supportive community all striving to enhance their lives using the transformative teachings of Napoleon Hill. But why stop there? If you're serious about achieving your life goal and unlocking your full potential, schedule a clarity call directly with Albert. With Albert's expertise and profound understanding of Napoleon Hill's principles, you will gain not just clarity, but also a path forward that aligns with your true desires. What more can we ask for? Don't wait for change. Create it and click on the link below to book your clarity call with Albert and take that quantum leap to your next shift. Thank you, Matrix members. I'm sending you love and inspiration, and I'll be seeing you on the next download.